Back in 2017, a game by the name of Prey was released. Not a sequel to the 2006 game, but a completely new reimagining of the Prey franchise with Arkane's signature immersive sim spin. I first played this game back in 2021 thanks to its addition to Xbox Game Pass, and I was absolutely blown away. Not just by the game's graphical fidelity, but by the technicality of it all. And the amount of effort that was put into each area that you were exploring throughout the duration of the game was absolutely amazing. And over the course of this video, I will tell you what I believe makes this game so special and why Prey 2017 is the greatest game you've never played.
Mr. Yu, please make yourself comfortable and we'll be on our way. TranStar facility is just a short hop. 78 degrees, clear skies all the way.
It was right here at this moment that I knew this game was for me. Prey picks up in the year 2035, where you play as Morgan Yu, a scientist aboard the Talos 1 space station. The beauty of the Talos 1 station is best described by the developers themselves as what if Google made a space station? Walking around the space station is evident that this is a lived-in space, and not just an area designed for me to shoot enemies in. Their words, not mine. Whether that's being in the reactor room where the power for the entire station is generated, or the crew cabin quarters where I can see a group of people had been playing some video games, or the conference room where I can see a game of D&D being set up. Some of these characters might have interesting side quests, they'll unlock new sections of the station, or they might turn on you as they don't trust that you're even a human. And the ways that you interact with these characters can shape the way that your game ends up playing out, so take these into consideration with each encounter. Whether that's giving a sick crewmate her medicine she needs as she is unable to walk without it, or a man stuck in a cargo container that has been ejected out into space. These hammer home the juxtaposition that is, do you want to help these people, or do you want to leave them to the aliens that now roam the Talos 1 station?
I'm going to ask you what. Is my coffee? It's empty.
Oh my god! Security! Security!
Now, the enemies of the Talos station comes in all shapes and sizes, and I mean that literally, from the giant phantom enemies that will flicker the lights as they walk by, or the telepath enemies that can take control and mind control the other survivors of the Talos 1 station and use them against you. But my personal favorite has to be the mimics. The mimics have the ability to turn into basically any object that is in the game. I think it's besides a pencil, is what they said. But this allows it to attack, hide, change objectives. In half the time, you don't even know what's what when you enter a room. And I really love the variety that the mimics can offer versus the other enemies in the game. And I would like to label this section why I love this game. And it's hard to extrapolate one certain reason, but I'll go ahead and I'll just show you one. Shit like this is what makes this game special. The game doesn't outright tell me that I can make a wall with a glue gun, but it's in the game, so if you can think it, you can probably do it. And that's the biggest driving aspect of Prey, is the player freedom and the choice that is allowed with each step of the game. There will be certain instances where you need to get into a room, and usually it's, okay, you have to go find a key card. Well, you can go find that key card, or you can use a foam crossbow launcher to hit the keypad and open up the door. Or you can access it with some of the Typhon powers, which are personally my favorite. And these range from the Mimic Blast, the Electric Blast, or my personal favorite, the Mimic function. This allows you to take the shape of nearly any object that is in the game for a small duration of time. And you can use this to get through little small areas that you might not normally be able to as a human. And the look on my face when I did this for the first time was priceless. Not because it was cool, but the fact that the game allowed me to do it and try it without telling me or giving me a hint to do so. Plenty of these moments exist in Prey, and it's what allows the moment to moment beats to gel so well, and allowing you to freely explore and experiment in an environment with nearly every item being interactable. The interactability of items is sort of what leads me to my next point, and it's the fact that every item in this game can be picked up and moved. And normally this would be sort of a little gimmicky, like in Fallout, where you can pick up a bottle and kind of wave it around, or you can kind of pick up a body and drag it around. But in Prey, if you have your strength maxed out enough, you can move certain crates and stack them to make pathways for yourself. Or if there is a box in front of a door, you can go ahead and you can move that box, which allows you to now access that doorway where you might not have been able to. And just the little details like that is just something that I love. These items that you pick up in the world can also be turned into materials and or resources to craft new medkits, ammo, or even new weapons. Some can be picked up directly and deposited into the recycling machines, which will process and break down these items. Or you can find a recycling charge, which is basically a little miniaturized version of this giant machine, but in a one-off use. With this, you can have a little fun with dragging items around and trying to see how many can get sucked into one charge. And all of this is complemented by the crafting system, which has you continuously looting and looking for items that might possibly aid in the journey across the station. And something about gearing up and crafting your items to gear up before you go out to that next new unexplored section of the station is scary, but also fun because you just aren't quite sure what's real and what's a mimic and what's waiting to kill you around the corner. Now, I will go ahead and I'll label this section what I didn't like. While I do have some gripes towards the end of the game due to it turning up the enemy density and essentially having infinitely respawning enemies, it didn't really feel like I enjoyed that style of play, whereas I'd been more timid and careful during my initial playthrough as I was sneaking across the station, so it kind of threw me off, and while it did force me to play a different way, it wasn't necessarily what I was looking for towards that end portion of the game. And occasionally the game will also give you an objective marker, and sometimes it won't. So while that might not be a deal breaker, sometimes it was a little irritating for me, and I did have to go look a few things up. But it also does force you to interact with the game's systems, such as the map system or the terminal that allows you to pinpoint the locations of certain crew members across the station. From the amount of points that you put into a particular skill tree or the people that you meet across the station, all of these systems are in place for you, the player, to interact with and choose how you want to handle it. Whether that's lifting up objects to get to your next objective or tracking down that particular key card, all of it is meant that for you to be there to engage and play your way. And that it's Prey does seem like it's a simple first person shooter, but it's more of a first person RPG with tactical elements. And the ways that you interact with the world can either hinder or help you along the way. And if you did happen to make it this far, I really do appreciate you sticking around, and this has been my review for Prey.
To make this right, someone has to die.